to start off by saying, praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstones. Peace and blessings to the Akim out there pushing the truth on the four corners of the earth. I started a lesson last week on, the life of Elijah. When I was going through my fiery trial, came across a book and, it inspired me, edified me. So I decided to do a lesson on it. And, if any of the Akim out there that are familiar, been in the truth for a minute, that we battle against principalities. So it's funny that, after the decree that the elders had made about the 3 videos and, the time frame and whatnot, I had the lesson set up. I had videos already in the phone, and basically the phone was stolen, you know what I mean? At first, I was wondering, like, sometimes things are just happenstance, but 9 times out of 10, ain't nothing just happenstance. Things happen for a reason, anybody that's been in the truth for a minute, like I said, they understand that we're battling against spiritual power. So, I know all the sincere brothers are, spiritually battling. I realize that I'm being spiritually attacked, but it's said that a righteous man falls down and gets himself back up and, does it again. So, I want to try to finish out that lesson. Basically, at the last video, I stopped at, basically I was talking about the different idolatry, the different idols, people, idolize people and family, and materialistic things like cars and money and whatnot. And, Israel at that time was going through, that's always been a big issue with, Israel. Basically, Yasha'Allah, brother, basically always have fallen victim to idolatry. Brings to mind the scripture in Romans. Romans 1 and 23. Basically saying, and change the glory of the uncorruptible Salakia, and change the glory of the uncorruptible Yahweh into an image made like to uncorruptible man, to birds and 4-footed beasts and creeping things. Actually, I was looking for the scripture where it said that, oh, there you go. Salakia. It was really Romans 1 and 25, who changed the truth of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, into Allah, and worship and serve the creature more than the creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. Basically, people tend to want to worship the creatures as opposed to the creator. So how is the clay, I'll say, to the potter what's right or how he should be? Back to the lesson. So Yahweh stopped the rain when, like I said, Elijah presented himself in front of Ahab and told him that because of what Ahab had done, it was going to be a drought. And you got to remember, at that time, Israel, their economy was based a lot of agriculture. Now, it was a lot of Baal worship at that time as well. And Baal was considered, a lot of different, people worshiped him for a lot of different reasons. But he also was supposed to be a god of agriculture. It was said that he was called the Rainmaker. So it's funny that, the one true living power was going to actually show the priest of Baal that their God was no God, Moses had prophesied back in the wilderness in Deuteronomy 11, and read it, Deuteronomy 11, about how it may be a time where the children of Israel it wouldn't be no rain. That's Deuteronomy 11:16 and 17. It says, "Take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them." Verse 17, "And then the Lord's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, and lest ye perish quickly from off the good land which Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh shall give it to you." So Moses had basically forewarned and prophesied that it was going to be a time when the people went off, and because they was following other gods, and Most High God was going to shut or cause a drought. So there was no rain under Ahab's rulership, and the land would suffer more than 3.5 years worth of a drought. Back to 1 Kings 17. So, after Elijah was, presented himself in front of Ahab and told him that it wouldn't be any rain, the Lord told him, "Get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan." Verse 4, "And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there." Verse 5, "So he went and did according to the word of Yahweh, for he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan." Verse 6, "And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook." Now, when you think about that, it's funny because in the Levitical laws, I believe it's 11, Leviticus 11 and 15. Leviticus 11 and 15, every raven after his kind, a raven was considered an unclean animal. So, that's showing you the power of the Most High God, Yahweh. He basically used a scavenger bird, a curious bird that, normally doesn't relinquish its food to feed, Elijah. So Elijah had to put a lot of trust and faith in the Lord, and that's showing his obedience, because it wasn't that the birds, or better yet, Salakia, the ravens, went to wherever Elijah was. Elijah had to get himself to that area, Cherith. So, a big thing, like I said, about being in this truth is you gotta be obedient. Let me go back to 6. "And the ravens brought him bread and flesh, and in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook." Verse 7, "And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land." Verse 8, "And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belonged to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee." Verse 10, "So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks, and he called to her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink." So Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh, had sent Elijah from the brook in Cherith, because basically the brook had dried up, and you got to think about that, because it never tells you the amount of time exactly. Well, it does, but it doesn't. He spent some time in that in that area by the brook, in isolation, and that probably was like a training period when you think about it, because he had to really, like, he had to do something for his faith. Because think about it, if them birds didn't come, just imagine what he probably was thinking. He's probably thinking, wondering if he was going to send the birds that day, But then his faith being renewed when the ravens came, dropped the food, as well as the fact that you got to remember that the brook was drying up the whole time, because it's a drought. So, just imagine what that can do to one's faith, And I'm sure, I can't speak for anybody else. All I can do is speak for myself. I know I have questioned, instead of putting all the trust in the Most High God, Yahweh, Yahweh, I would like to, or I have tried to put things in my own hands. So I tend to imagine maybe he was thinking about, or wanting to, go to a different area as this, brook basically drained down to basically a stream, and then probably to nothing, wondering, should I leave and go seek another source of water, But he was patient and obedient, and he waited, and Yahweh spoke to him and told him to go to the woman, or the widow. So when Yahweh sent Elijah to the widow of Zarephath, he basically stayed with her for the next 2 years. And, she basically supported her. Now, when he first meets her, like I said, he asks her to fetch him some water, and then he brings her around and basically asks her, I'll read it. It says in verse 11, and as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thy hand. Verse 12, and he said, as Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, thy power liveth, I have not, Salakia, she said, and she said, as the Lord thy power liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat and die. Verse 13, and Elijah said unto her, fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son. So basically he said feed him first before he feed her and her child. And she already looking at it like she ain't got much. This is the last of the food. And, because she made the statement, that she was going to eat and then, prepare to die. But he was telling her to take a chance, because of the God he served, he must have presented himself in a certain kind of way, because like I said, she actually, took his word and went and did it. It says, verse 14, for thus saith Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, till the day that the Lord sendeth rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and he and her house did eat many days. So, she took a leap of faith. She took a chance. So, like I said, she must have felt the power on him, because, like I said, she took her last, fed him first. Well, because I guess, he was doing the will of the Most High God. Well, I know he was doing the will of the Most High God. And it was probably to build her faith as well, She took a chance by faith, trusting the man of the Lord, and by trusting the man of the Lord to help him do what the Most High God's will was, he blessed her household for her to be able to survive through the drought. In verse 16, it says, and the barrel of meal wasted not. Oh, I already read that, Salakia, but I'll reread it. Verse 16, and the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Elijah. Verse 17, and it came to pass after these things that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, fell sick, and his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him. Verse 18, and she said unto Elijah, what have I to do with thee, O thou man of Yahweh, art thou come unto me to call my sin to remembrance and to slay my son?